those financial aid forms. So that is something that is also required for certain other schools. So the earlier you find out, I think the key message is that financial aid is out there through the California government, through the California Dream Act, and also from colleges, and some of them may need additional forms like the CSS profile.
Yes, exact, perfect.
Right. And then you've also mentioned scholarship. So I know some students get frustrated because they'll look at it and they'll say, you have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Like, oh, I can't do that one. And then they'll see another one, same thing. So where can they find a list of scholarships if they are a Dreamer or a DACA student?
Yeah, great question. So you can find some on our website under resources. If you select, so we have a selection tool, like who is it that is looking for these resources. And if you put resources for students, you'll be able to find the scholarship database that we have. And it's a list of updated scholarships that you could apply for. And really, really helpful. Look through those, and those are all scholarships for undocumented students that we know undocumented students can apply for. And then the second option, so there's many more. We also have a database of other scholarships. There's MALDEF. One that I really like is Dreamers Roadmap. And Dreamers Roadmap is an application that you would download on the phone, or you could go on the website, and it got a lot of different scholarships as well that you could apply for. The whole entire app is intended for undocumented youth to find scholarships.
Yeah, so Dreamers Roadmap, and then on your website, immigrantsrising.org, under resources. And you guys provide your own scholarship because you have Immigrants Rising Scholars as well, correct?
That is correct, yeah. So our scholarship is going to open, it's closed right now. We've already underwent the process. It opens again next year. And we provide scholarships for Bay Area youth.
Oh, fantastic. And can you talk about what other services, you mentioned a few of them, but I know it goes on and on, that Immigrants Rising does provide for the community?
Yeah, so our services are around the immigration legal intake forms. So that's a legal service. We have we offer presentations throughout the community and throughout different schools and organizations. So people could request presentations from us, and we would go and train their counselors, students, inform parents. So that's another service that we offer. We offer also entrepreneurship presentations, which is new. We used to not, and so now there's opportunities to learn about ways to make a living and earning a living. We also offer space for storytelling, ways to tell your story and really share and express yourself. And that's a really, really great service that we have. We also have, with the other services, a lot of resources, a lot of materials, a lot of content that has already been vetted and curated to be used by students and by educators. And the resources is a big way that a lot of educators know us. We have a binder that you can print out, and it just has everything and anything you need to know as well.
So this is a great resource for parents, mentors, students, and educators. So if they're like just learning about this, they can reach out to your organization. And on the top of your website, immigrantsrising.org, they put their name and email, and they just get updates if they're just trying to familiarize themselves with all this information about to support Dreamers or DACA students.
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
Great. And what are some obstacles that, whether you're an educator, a mentor, or a student, should be aware of for Dreamers or DACA students? What are some things where we as a community can support them, or they can support themselves? What are some obstacles that you should be aware of?
Yeah, I think one is just knowing where to go, like knowing where to go, who to turn to. And I had not heard of organizations like ours when I was in high school. I felt alone, isolated, and like I didn't know where to turn. I just felt alone, very like, why did we come? Wondering why did he have come? What do I do? Like, there's no answer for what your future should entail. And so, again, like turning to the community, turning to mentors, turning to people like us is very important. I found a lot of love and support when I started using the resources of organizations like Immigrants Rising. And then the other thing is knowing what you're eligible for, like just besides the emotional support, then actually knowing, okay, well, what can I qualify for? We actually launched another tool. It's the California In-State Tuition tool qualifier, and through this application, you could see it under our services. You would know if you're eligible for in-state tuition or not. And who I'm talking to beyond high school students is I'm talking to anybody who maybe didn't follow the traditional high school pathway and might have left high school after 2 years and went to community college, then got their GED, and is not sure if they qualify for in-state tuition. That's also an issue and a barrier. Well, we have a tool now that'll point you in the direction to see if you're eligible. So again, two things: the emotional health, the well-being aspect, and making sure you're loved and supported. That, find the people, right? Find someone, have a mentor. And then the second part is the knowledge aspect, like the what do you need to know to be able to take the next step in the direction that you want to go. And to be able to know that, use resources like Immigrants Rising, use resources like United We Dream, use resources on Facebook from undocumented students. We have a lot of undocumented student pages. Connect to us, send us emails, and find ways to get the information you need.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And I'm glad that you mentioned that new Senate bill that passed SB 68, because there may have been students who graduate for high school, didn't know about these opportunities, missed the boat on an opportunity. And guess what? There's another door open for you through that. And that's great that you're that resource for them. So my last question is, and you guys do a great job on your website under the storytelling segment, where you really encourage young people to reclaim and share personal stories to help heal, strengthen the community, and transform the hearts and minds not only of dreamers, but of everyone in the community, including our legislators and people who maybe not know someone who's a dreamer. Do you mind sharing a story of a dreamer and how they saw their college dream come true?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorites is from a good friend of mine, where he talks about being in high school, and this was not knowing what to do, 2006, 2007, not knowing what's next, where do I go, what do I apply for, and talked to his AVID teacher. And AVID is a program for high school students who want to go to college. And it said, I want to go to college, but I'm undocumented, super afraid to tell the educator, but finally told them because they just didn't know what else to do. And the educator said, okay, he's like, there's not very many resources, not very much out there. It's going to be hard, like painted like picture, like how hard it was going to be. He's like, I was so sad. I knew it was hard. I was not sure what to do. Went home, right? Came back the next day. And the educator tells him, okay, we figured it out. He's like, yes? What are you talking about? He's like, I figured it out. The way you're going to go to college is going to be through scholarship. And then he said, okay. And he's like, yeah, you're going to need to apply for scholarships. And so instead of coming to my class and spending the hour here with me in the AVID class, what you're going to be doing is applying for scholarships. And your grade is going to be dependent on how many scholarships you apply for. So if you apply for 10, that's an A. If you apply for 9, that's a B. If you apply for 8, that's a C. And this student then, in 4 quarters of high school, needed to apply to 40 scholarships at least just to get straight A's, which is the thing that was the most important to the student. Not so much the class, the scholarships, it was to get A's. And so my friend just says, so I went at it. I started applying. It was hard at first. Out of the first 10, I only got 1 or 2.
Right.
He's like, but after the second 20, like by the time I was at 20, 30, I started getting more and more. And he's like, and it just became easier and easier and easier to apply for scholarships. I had an assembly line because I just needed to pick up if I found out about a scholarship tomorrow, I just needed to pick up my recommendation letters that I already had, get my essays changed a little if I needed to. If not, it was about the same as, most scholarships ask you a very similar questions. So he was like, I just had my email, my essays already written, and soon after, I ended up applying to more like 60 scholarships, not just 40. And he got his entire tuition paid for at a university, at a UC, and this is prior to California Dream Act. So he was able to cover his entire tuition and go through school without having to work, just with his tuition paid, which is huge. That enabled him to be a lot more active in events throughout campus, get very involved, provide leadership, create a club on campus, and I think that's very inspirational. Just the educator standing for the student to apply for scholarships, and then the student to actually go forward, and just points to that, the importance of that. And now he has a master's from UC Berkeley, and I think it's in engineering, medical engineering. Yeah, it's something engineering, and he hasn't had to pay for his tuition. He learned so many skills of scholarship when applying for scholarships that he's now taken to the labor force, and he's now taken to higher education.
Yeah, it goes back to that story when you have that one door closed that you were mentioning that you experienced yourself. Sometimes if you don't know how to look at other doors open, just ask for help and they'll show you, and so many different ones out there. Thank you, Estefania, and for Immigrants Rising for being such a great resource to our community and showing so many of us that nothing's impossible unless you think it's impossible. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're so welcome. We definitely know that the struggle, as people say, the struggle is real. The times right now have been, I think the word could be horrendous for immigrant communities and documented people. And in the face of that, undocumented people continue to show up every day and make things possible that for many people seemed impossible. It seemed impossible that to have anything like DACA come into fruition, and it did. It seemed impossible to have in-state tuition available for undocumented students, and it did. It seemed impossible to get financial aid, and it did. And throughout the journey, I think what's cool about Immigrants Rising is that we've been there. We've been there through whatever obstacle and found ways to navigate through them. And then as the state or the United States legislation catches up with us, we're now ready to make the most out of it. Make the biggest difference and contribute, because that's all we ever want to do, contribute.
Yeah, and your organization does. So please check out immigrantsrising.org. Estefania, thank you so much for everything, and let's keep on making those possibilities happen together.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to College for All. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and learned that college is an opportunity you can reach. Use this information and you can find out even more on our website at college4all.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at college4allamv. Thank you for listening, and until our next podcast, don't forget, nothing is impossible unless you think it is impossible.